Hello, my friends. Welcome to this Together Run. I want, as always, you to connect in with some element of nature before you begin. I am going to touch these nice green leaves. Just feel their smoothness. You ready to begin? 3, 2, and 1. Off we go. Oh, wow. Well, friends, it's been probably 3 weeks since I recorded a Together Run. Probably about 2 or 3. And you can probably already tell in my voice, I'm a little bit hesitant even now. This feels very like putting myself out there. And I know it's not. And I know that I could easily say to you all, I'm not doing this, I'm not ready. And you'd be like, fine, you absolutely do what's best for you. I know that. So I know I don't have to do this. But the reality is I need to start getting back to my life. I need to start doing what I do. And there is a lot to say. So I'm going to go on to do the meditative elements in just a minute before I'm going to explain most things throughout the run once we've done our usual meditative elements. But before I begin, I want to say 2 things. One, we seem to have jumped straight into summer at this point, and so it's humid. And so I can feel already that my breathing is a little more laboured than it has been. And 2, if you don't know why I'm talking weirdly and why I would not be doing what I should be doing for my working career, well, I went home to England, which you would have known if you did the last Together Run. I'll tell you more about that as an overall when we do our updates and catch-ups. But upon my return, the day I arrived, the evening I arrived, while I was in Chicago on my layover, I called one of my close friends who had lost his daughter 40 days prior to check in on him. He'd also had a rotator cuff surgery 2 months prior, was off work. A really bad surgery, was really needed. He also had a torn bicep they found when they went in for the surgery. Talked to him, made some plans for the next week of going to get lunch. We were talking, laughing, being ourselves. I was going to have my Aunt Jackie meet him, who was with me. Just this bright light friend in my life. And then didn't think anything of it. And then 2 days later, one of my neighbours comes over, and she comes to pick up her daughter who had been at my house. And she said to me, have you heard? I take it you've heard about Patrick. And when you hear that, I immediately began to panic. I can still feel, I know, the look of terror I gave her next to her daughter, which is part of what I find hard, that I really it just punched me in the gut in that moment. I just didn't know what to say. I was freaking out. And, I do feel some guilt that her daughter saw that. And she's 10, so she understands more than, my 5-year-old would have if she had been there. But I know, I want her to see emotions, and I do show this little girl my emotions a lot. But, yeah, Patrick had died unexpectedly. It was an infection. We can all go to our own conclusions as to what could have caused that. I don't know if we'll find out anymore, but and it just took me to my knees. I didn't really want to talk to anyone, or not anyone. Didn't want to talk to very many people. I still don't feel ready to record a podcast. Thankfully, I had some episodes already done. Didn't want to do it together and didn't really want to do much. My aunt was here and I made the most of that, and kind of used up a lot of my energy on... I didn't have to put on a front for her, obviously, but just taking her to do fun things for my girls and Steve and the few friends that I did confide in. And I'm still pulling myself back up. So he's the first close friend I've lost. And the unexpected part, having spoken a few days before, you always are like, I should have said this. Did I tell him I loved him? All this. And so yeah, I'm still working through it. There's more to it that I'll tell you about in a minute. But I wanted to explain before I went on any further that, yeah, I still feel a bit like, I almost feel like this is maybe what it would feel like to be on antidepressants, or when people say that, I guess more like ADHD medication. Yeah, when friends have said that, like, it just makes you feel like a bit more like meh. That's kind of how I feel still. And if you've been doing these together runs for a while, you would have heard Patrick on multiple occasions. I had seen him out doing these many times. One time I spoke to him during my run, and I probably should go find that, because those of us who do love him are just finding any little clip of his voice. And people going through their Ring cameras to find little clips of his voice. So, yeah, it's hit me hard. And I'll tell you the rest in the main chunk. But as we are now 7 minutes in, I want us to do our meditative elements, which we're going to begin, as we always do, with a body scan, which is going to mean you're going to start from the top of your head, work your way down to your toes. I'll call out the various areas, and all you need to do is just put your awareness in those parts of the body I'm telling you, and just notice, have a feeling, just notice the awareness being in that area, and we'll continue on down. Okay, ready? Starting at the top of your head, working your way down, checking in with those eyes, making sure they're not scrunched or squinting, nice and relaxed. As you head on down through your nose, checking in with the back of your head, around that Indian bump of your head, as you come back forward into your mouth and jaw. Again, making sure there's no tension or clenching or holding on with that, just relaxed. Continuing on down into your neck and around the back of your neck. Going on down further into your shoulders and upper back. As you work your way down your arms, top of your arm, rounding out the elbow, going into the forearm and wrist, checking in with your palm and fingers, making sure everything is nice and relaxed. You're not holding tension there either. Coming back to the main part of your torso, going through your chest, into your stomach, continuing on down, checking in with the lower back as you go down into the back of your hips and pelvis, checking all in that area, continuing on down into the quads and hamstrings as you check in with the back of your knee, the front of your knee, your shin and calf, continuing on down into the inner ankle and the outer ankle as you follow it on down into your heel and arch, finally into the pad of your foot, the ball of your foot, and checking in with your toes. How does everything feel? Morning. Okay, thank you for checking in. Next, we're going to go do our senses check-in, which is where we're going to take in what we're experiencing in our 5 primary senses. Does anyone know the word for those, like what the 5, I say primary senses, sometimes like, I can't remember the other word I use, but like main. What are those 5 called? Because obviously they're not like the proprioceptive, like balance one. That's got to be a very important one. So I don't want to say the most important. So what are these 5 called, if anyone knows? Anyway, so we're going to end with sight, because for most of us, that's what we overuse. And we're going to begin. I want you to, in your own pace, recognizing you're running, so they're not going to be true deep breaths. But I want you to take as deep a breath as you can, 3 times. What do you smell? You smell like kind of it's not really a smell, it's more of like a dank, kind of dense, I don't know, just like that. It's probably more of like a thickness in the air, but that's what I can feel. What do you taste? For me, I'll admit, I went straight out the door, so did not brush my teeth. So I taste kind of gross. Didn't have my athletic greens today yet. So I taste yuck. That kind of morning taste. Regretting not brushing my teeth, but I was trying to get out the door without waking the girls up, which I failed. They probably still wake up. Okay, next. We're gonna, if you want to take your headphones out, you're welcome to do so. If you want to listen to your sounds, that's great. But if you also would rather not take your headphones out and just listen to the sounds in my world, you're welcome to that. So let's go ahead. Just take about 45 seconds to check in. What do you hear? Final few seconds. Okay. What did you hear in your world? Or in mine? I had sprinklers. I had my footsteps. I had birds. I I had like distant sound of cars. Next, we're going to be just present in our bodies. Going to notice what we feel, where our attention is being drawn. In this, you may find your attention jumps from place to place. Your awareness jumps. Or you may find that it just sits on something that you feel a lot right now, feels strong, is bothering you or something. But regardless, I want you to just stay in your awareness, stay on the outside of your body, or potentially the inside. What do you feel? A few more seconds. Okay. Where was your awareness, your attention being drawn? For me, went from definitely the sweat running down the side of my face. Not used to that feeling again of the warm weather yet. It was also on the arch of my foot, which is a little bit achy again, but going away now. And I felt on my wrist, my watch moving slightly, my phone, where I can just feel it digging into the side of my hand. Finally, a sense of sight, vision. I want you to go where your attention is drawn, but as always, making sure at some point in the time you're paying attention to your surroundings that you hone in on a detail of some kind, something you wouldn't normally pay attention to, even if you've done this loop or this route or this run thousands of times. I'm currently on my regular loop that I tell you about, so I've run this 50 plus times in the last year. Maybe a little like 100 times. And yet, I know I can still find something of detail that I've never noticed. So, I need to go ahead and do that. Take a mental photograph of whatever that thing is, as if you're trying to remember it. It's the last time you'll ever see it. So let's go ahead and check in with our vision. Go where your awareness leads you. few more seconds. Okay. What did you notice? For me, it wasn't so much a small detail as I normally pay attention to, but it was like I noticed that most of the houses I was running by have like a little area out the front to sit, like a porch, but like a long, thin porch to sit out the front. They all had those chairs, and so I'd never noticed how many of those houses had those little porches with the same similar chairs. Okay, so next, checked in with our body, checked in with our surroundings. Next, we're going to check in with our mind, especially as May is Mental Health Month. So, I'm going to ask you a question. You need to take the time to think about what you would say. And even if you and I were running together and you wouldn't say any of this to me, you wouldn't feel confident, you wouldn't feel comfortable, just not, you're a very private person, that's okay. But you still can tell it to yourself. You still can speak to how you are and allow yourself to work through what you are experiencing, what you are feeling right now, even if you wouldn't tell a soul. So let's go ahead when I ask you, how are you? Really? What would you say? If you got distracted, just gently bring yourself back. What else can you say? There's more going on there. Few more seconds. Okay. Thank you for taking the time and the space to be with yourself. I know it's not easy to do, and I find that quite difficult at times during the day when just easier to reach to the phone or reach for something else to distract you over sitting with yourself for a little bit. Okay, how am I really? I've told you some of it. already. I feel just a bit toned down to my normal self. I feel like I can't quite reach the part of me that I feel best in, the best version of Tina. I can't quite reach her at the moment, and I know that's okay. I also feel anticipation of a week, as of recording this, a week tomorrow from my race. When you hear this, it'll be less than a week to go. And I am nervous, not only to do 50 miles, because I don't know I can do 50 miles. My longest run on London that day, I did 29.5 miles. So that's my longest run, technically. Actually, no, that's not true. I did 33 miles, maybe 34, I can't remember, with Mike Wardian, but that was broken up. And we were moving very differently to how I'll be running this. It's also flat here in St. Louis, not at altitude. So I'm nervous for the distance. Additionally nervous because this has been a real mental battle of whether to even do it at all, as it is on the day of Patrick's funeral. And so I've been, I was absolutely set on not doing it. And I've kind of been wrestling, going back and forth with it. Working through some deep set relationship issues I have with running, and that ultimately some dear friends showed me that he would have wanted me to go ahead, and I asked his wife, and I talked to his wife. I've talked to her twice about this now, and both times she said he would want me to do it. He'd be so proud of me and he'd want me to go ahead. So there's also that piece of it of how am I going to be? I'm nervous about that day, knowing I'm missing saying goodbye to him at his funeral, his service. I was offered the gift of writing something to be in his funeral program, or his obituary, and so I feel proud to do that and be a part of that. But still, I'm wrestling with feelings of guilt. I feel a little disappointed. Something was supposed to happen in early June. This amazing project I was really excited about and already had some of the pieces in play for is no longer going ahead. I am also excited for lots of the things coming, with the book being close and, just our summer plans. We're going away for a week as a family, and I'm excited to have a family vacation, not to visit one of our families, but just the four of us, to a beach, which we've never done. So yeah, I have a lot going on of emotions and feelings. A lot I'm excited for, a lot I'm kind of holding my breath for, and just 1 minute left for the 30-minute group, and just trying to be with all those things and what they need. I've noticed it's interesting with my music listening on Spotify. I keep going to listen to something, and I have these playlists that I often listen to that are really upbeat or fun and put me in a good mood and make me feel good about life. Primarily, if you have Spotify, my favourite is I think it's called UK 2000s Nostalgia, and it's got a pair of Converse, maybe two pairs of Converse shoes looking down on them if you want to look at it. But right now, I have zero interest in that playlist and a lot of other playlists. But sometimes I do want to listen to like sad songs, and sometimes I just don't really know what I do want. And so I might be like, okay, well, like David Gray, which is, those of you who know David Gray, he's a very like, what's the word? Melodramatic, is that the word? You know, like very sad songs or bittersweet songs. So he's obviously the mood I'm in. Or like, sometimes it'll be Ed Sheeran because there's a bit of a mix, but he skews kind of sad songs. And so I'm noticing with my music choices, definitely not where I normally am, but sometimes I might be like, I'm going to listen to Harry Styles because they're like upbeat songs, but they don't, I don't know, just, yeah, Harry is about as far as I can go into my realm of normalcy. So yeah, alright, sorry. Should have come to a walk 30-minute group. I'll give you an additional 30 seconds to walk just in case you didn't. And then we'll go ahead and do 2 strides. If this is your first together run, you're choosing a very interesting one to begin with. But we're going to do 2 by about 10 to 15 seconds of running at about 80% of your max. And we're going to take about a minute in between. Just going to take lots more steps, even though they're called a stride. That doesn't mean you try and take giant steps because you're just going to put yourself at risk of injury. Okay, ready? 3, 2, and 1. We're all doing this, by the way. Alright, 30-minute crew come to a walk. The rest of us come to a jog. Take a minute. We'll do one more. And then 30-minute crew, you can be on your way. The rest of us will keep going. I've had a few people say to me lately about appreciating the 30-minute option just as it's, not so isolating as everything else seems to be set for like an hour as like, quote, real runner status. And like, hopefully you know by now, I don't buy into that stupid narrative. But I thought it is important to do the 30-minute group because running for 30 minutes is a long time. Like the average person can't run for more than a few minutes. And when you start building up to running for the first time or in a long time, getting to 30 minutes is a hell of an accomplishment. So yes, I will continue doing the 30 minutes. All right, you ready? 3, 2, and 1. Okay, come to a jog or a walk. 30-minute group, thank you so much for coming, for joining. Keep these shares on social media coming, posts about together runs. Not only are you helping me, it really brings a smile to my face seeing those, but you're also helping get them out there to people who are potentially running on their own and lonely and just could use some companionship like this. So you sharing it is huge. You can also go pre-order, any of you now. I've made it so easy. BecomingASustainableRunner.com. BecomingASustainableRunner.com. You can get to access and order any of your favourite bookstores. So the big box stores, it's on all the Target and the Barnes & Noble and the Amazon and all the other places. Waterstones in the UK, all those places, you can order it. So go ahead and do that. That's a massive help to me too. Okay, right, so we have just over 10 minutes till our next set of strides. At this point, I want to hear what you've been up to recently since we last ran together. And so I want you to take a few minutes to imagine what you would be sharing with me if we were running together. And even if you wouldn't share these things with me, just reflecting over your recent time, what you've been up to. So let's go ahead and do that now. What have you been up to? Morning. If you've got distracted, just gently bring yourself back. What have you been up to? Few more seconds. Morning. Okay. Thank you for sharing, for taking the time with yourself to reflect. Because even if it feels like things are going so slow for you, there's always things we can share. There's always things we've been doing or thinking about or being proud of ourselves for working through. Maybe we haven't been doing much physically, but mentally we've been working through a lot. And I've been definitely thinking about that a lot lately I feel like my brain is processing. Okay, so what have I been doing lately? Okay, so I was in England, I recorded that last Together run. Was it the day I left or a few days before I left? Took you in the Bluebell Woods, which was beautiful. That was such a nice trip to have time with my family and friends, only a few friends, but like without, just on my own. I love taking my kids, but I also really appreciated and enjoyed having some time to myself there. And I haven't done that since Bailey was born. And so that was really nice. And then I came back here, even despite the grief. I did have a nice time with my Auntie Jackie. We've been close pretty much since I was born. She has a lot of nieces and nephews, like in the 50s. Well, actually I think it's in the 40s of nieces and nephews, and definitely her and I are very close. I'll leave it at that. And so she knew kind of exactly when I needed someone the most. And it was Steve's busiest week of the year. So he was gone a lot and pretty stressed. So, he was there for me, but he couldn't be around as much as he wanted to. So yeah, it was amazing having Jackie, and we did some stuff I haven't done here in St. Louis before. So it was nice to also be a bit of a tourist and take her to do some things. So I enjoyed having her here, and I felt like I could access joy in, chunks, in terms of just being able to really appreciate something even in the early moments after. And so, it was hard, and I, especially in the early days, would get upset a lot, but I also was able to find joy. One of my best friends, Tim, was his birthday the day after, and I really did enjoy that day. We went out for brunch, we went to see Wicked, which I've never seen, and we went out for dinner, and I was able to laugh and really enjoy myself, even though it was so fresh. Definitely had like a sobbing, like absolutely losing it, breakdown cry with him during Wicked. The song, those of you who know the final song about because I knew you, I've changed for the better. And Tim just I felt him take like half my grief in that moment. And it was really beautiful. Like he was crying, I was crying, like it was so powerful. And so I really enjoyed that day. And then work-wise, I really wasn't able to focus on much. But this past week of me recording this, I've been getting back to being able to do things, and things have been coming my way. Very exciting things. So, it's a sign to keep going and that good things happen. And then, the other joy thing that came through was Bailey just randomly started riding her bike. Steve and I have been trying to help her by holding the back of the seat, trying to get her on a slight downhill so she would feel what it feels like, and then we'd be able to let go. But she just didn't like that for probably a year now. And then one day I just noticed out of the corner of my eye she was walking along trying to balance it like you would do with a balance bike, but with her push pedal bike. And then she just started doing it, and it was such a monumental moment in my life as a parent, but also a moment I felt so proud of her, because she just did it on her own when she was ready, and so often, at least I feel as parents, we have to especially somewhere where I live, where it feels like everyone's excelling and exceeding and everyone's kids are doing 27 different things, and there's a lot of pressure to get ahead, and I just don't like that. And so I love that she just did it when she felt ready, and she's 5, so that's probably I would guess the practical mean age that kids, at least around me, do start riding their bike. But it wasn't me pushing her to do it, it was just when she was ready. So it's a beautiful moment. And also I don't say the word proud of my kids lightly, because I know I didn't feel proud of them when they took their first steps. That's just part of development, But for this, I saw her working at it, and then for days after, she wanted to go out there and practice. She was working really hard to try and figure out the uphills. And so, that is one of the first moments I've really felt proud of her, because I knew that she really worked on something and tried and concentrated and had to, battle those feelings of fear when, she started careering out of control and didn't know if she could hold on and stuff, So that was a really beautiful thing. All right, 45-minute group. Let's come to a walk. And then one last thing. Through grieving Patrick, I have become friends with his wife. I've really been able to be there for her. And some other people in my area who were close to him have become friends of mine. Just really wonderful people that I wouldn't have known otherwise. So, yeah, just another example of where, there are little gifts that come from even the hardest and the things to process and wrap your head around. Okay, so we're going to do 2 strides in just a minute. If you're done with your run, you walk in between. The rest of us can jog in between. Are you ready? 3, 2, and 1. Okay, come to a jog or a walk. Take another 30 seconds. We'll do one more. Ready? 3, 2, and 1. Do a jog or a walk. 45-minute group. Same as before. If you can share this, go pre-order a copy of my book. It's so helpful. Zoe and I worked really hard on this book, and we would love your support. Okay, thank you for joining. All right, so before I go on to say any more, I want us to go ahead and do a body scan at your own pace, just following what parts of the body your attention's being drawn to. Let's just go ahead and do that now. A few more seconds, just finishing off that body scan. Okay, thank you for checking in. How's your body feeling now? Compared to at the beginning? It's important to check in with our bodies and of course our minds. Okay, so so next Saturday I have a Bryce Canyon 50 mile. My longest race has been, I did a trail ultra that was 27 miles. So we're talking just over half, or that's just over halfway. So this is intimidating. I jumped over the 50k because I just felt like I was making too big of a deal out of it with just, it's not really that much further than what I'd already done. I'd also technically done that run with Mike, so I had done the distance. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to do something that's going to stretch me and push me and make me wonder if I can even finish. And so I chose Bryce Canyon. It was the race I was going to do the 50k last year, if you remember. That was race 2, attempt 2. And Bailey got that nasty stomach flu with a week to go. I sanitized the hell out of everything, washed my hands a million times a day, and avoided it. But somehow, with like 2 days to go, I must have missed something and got it and vomited for 24 hours straight. And 50k altitude with having used 24 hours, like 48 hours prior, vomiting was not a smart idea. So we ended up staying at Jared Ward's house the whole time. He wasn't there, but we were just recovering. And so yeah, I'd already looked up this race, knew everything about it, and so that was one reason. And the other reason is, it's absolutely beautiful. And I haven't been to Bryce Canyon. Why would I not want to do that? So that's another reason, is this part of my running career is about doing things that are joyful, doing things because I want to do them. And a 50 mile on a rail trail in Ohio didn't sound like something that I would be mentally prepared to push through. So that was another reason. And the third reason was Ryan Montgomery lives in Park City, so he can pick me up. We can go down there together. He's going to pace/crew me, and he's a very accomplished, one of the top ultra runners out there. So he knows what he's doing. He can help me, and he's also one of my best friends. So why would you not do that one? And so yeah, that's the reason I've chosen those races, or that race. And as I said, wrestling through whether to do it or not. But now I'm going ahead. I'm excited to see Ryan. I am excited to see Bryce Canyon. I'm working towards being excited about the 20th, but it still feels a bit weird. Like I can't quite access excitement about the day itself, just because I know that also is going to represent the day when it really becomes clear that he's gone. So I'm working through it. I think that's about it. I will be in Chicago next month. If anyone here is from Chicago would like to go for a run, let me know. I'll be there the 19th to the 23rd, I think. So would love to see you there. Also recording my audiobook in June, which is terrifying. Thinking about speaking for like 6 to 8 hours a day. So if anyone has any musical background that you give me advice on how to prep my voice to handle that, I'd love it. And yeah, I think that has you about caught up with us. So let's go ahead. We've got about 4 minutes before we do our last 2 strides, which we'll do during the run. So let's go ahead and you're going to spend 2 minutes just focusing on the movement of running. We haven't done this for a few together runs now. It's probably been 6 months at least since I've done this, but it was really, I liked it. And it's hard. So I'm not saying it isn't hard, but when I tell you to, I want you to take 2 minutes and just focus on the movement of running, being with your body. And one of you reminded me of this this week that I haven't done this in a while. I'm sorry, I've forgotten your name. Is it Kelly? Katie? Apologise. I can see your face, which I love. Thank you for your post. And as I said before, when you share these posts with your faces, I can imagine running with you, and I am imagining running with you right now. Anyway, okay. Morning. Let's go ahead and do that now. 2 minutes. Just be in your body. Just feel the motion of running. Are you feeling your arms move? What direction are they moving? How does it feel? I'm cutting through the air. What's the slight jiggling you're feeling? Thinking about your legs. You feel the slight muscle contractions as you land. Do you feel the hardness of the ground? Maybe like me, you feel your quad and hamstring little leg hairs being blown. What do you feel when you're running? Just keep on that experience. What does it feel like to you? Final few seconds. Okay, thank you for checking in, for being present in your body, for appreciating the motion of even being able to do this at all. Or maybe you're here walking. What does walking feel like? That's something to be proud of too. You're moving your body. Alright, you ready? We are going to do 2 more strides. Going to jog in between. Ready? 3, 2, and 1. Come to a jog. We'll take a 30 to 45 seconds. We'll do one more. Person's jamming out. Their windows are up and I can hear their music. Alright, ready? Let's do one more. 3, 2, and 1. Let's come to a jog. About 25 seconds left. Then we'll come to a walk. Okay, come to a walk. Just find some element of nature for you to connect with. Touch something that reminds you you're here on this earth. If you're on a treadmill or something, just feel the ground beneath you. You're still connected to this earth, even if you're on man-made materials. And go ahead and take a picture of you. I would love to see your face. I'd love to imagine we're running together. And it does make me smile a little bit, so I'd appreciate it. And I say a little bit just because, like I said, I'm still a bit subdued. Thank you so much for joining. If you want to go ahead and pre-order Becoming a Sustainable Runner, there are links in wherever you're listening to this. There's also links to, I guess you could share about the podcast and tag me and things on the show notes. But thank you, and I'll see you on Wednesday for a real episode with Sarah Crouch. Those are hilarious. Last week's one was about poop. So if you need to have a laugh, I definitely have a very embarrassing story to share on that. I go back and listen to For Real episode with Sarah, and then on Friday, a regular podcast episode. Thanks for listening. I'll see you then.